Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Not only one pod, but we run the multiple pod, and pod has container has applications. So those are the things which we have already discussed. But the question is, how can we access the pod for the end user? Let me remind you, when you set a deployment and you do the, let's say, replicas, when you set it 20 or 2000 or 200, whatever it is, as an end user, I don't want to access every pod. As an end user, I want to access only one pod at a time. But here you might have seen it, we are running multiple pod. So the question is, how can we access those pod and how to manage those accessibilities scope as well. So the same thing we are going to discuss now. Look at this here in this slide. Here we have multiple node, and each node you have one or two pod. Now if you look at it very carefully, some containers inside a pod which is stating it's a FE front end, and then some pod is of database backend. You might also see here in the this is the cluster, okay, 6 worker is there. You might also see here the IP address of the pod is having, and then also the pod get disappeared, new pod comes with a new IP address actually. So here this is the typical scenario which we have in the Kubernetes. When you deploy, here you have a two deployments, by the way. One is a front end deployment, one is a database deployment. So two deployments are in place. One is front end, one is in database. Front end have few pods, database you have few pod. Now, how do we create a guidelines of like which front end will talk to which backend? That is a problem which we are having right now. We are facing. Look at this here. There are four front ends pod and a two backend pod database. Now, which front end will talk to which backend? That is the question here. Not able to understand this. Which front end will talk to which backend? Okay, so that's a kind of problem which we have. How do we tackle this problem? But before that, let's understand one more problem. When you deploy the version 1 to version 2, you get a new pod actually. So earlier you had a version 1 deployment and then we got a version 2 deployment. So you may have a old pod also and you may have a new pod also. And here new IP address also popping up with the pod also. So how do you tackle these situations? Like, okay, front end is confused about whether it should access the v1 or v21 and v212 or whatever it is. So it's a this problem, right? So how do you solve this problem? The problem is solved by service. Okay, the problem is solved by service. So guys, in short, what is service? So guys, service is basically we know that load balancers, right? So there are two kind of load balancers we have in the whole world, which we use nowadays a lot. One is network load balancer and another one is application load balancer. So basically service is your network load balancer. Yes, service is your network load balancer. So but in Kubernetes we don't call it load balancer, we call it service, because using that terminology you can access all the pods endpoints. Okay, so you have a 4 front end, you have one service, sorry, you have a 2 back end, 2 database. For that you have a one service, and all the front end will talk to this service. A service will have IP address and DNS name that can be accessible anywhere in the cluster. I repeat, anywhere in the cluster it can be accessible with. So that is called service. Okay, so now you understood that what is a service is just like your network load balancer. Guys, did you understand that? Any questions so far? Yeah, so guys, let's move on. Here what happens, here you have a pod which will keep growing as part of the deployments. So new pod, new IP address. So when the new pods come, service automatically register those new pods. But how come? What is the theory behind it? How come the new pods with which is coming with a new IP address, which is getting added with the uh, added with the this kind of service? I mean, to the database service. How come? And here there's one more problem here. Let's say in your cluster you have a pod, and certain pods you have a database version 1, and a certain pod you have a database version 1.2. So now you don't want to load balance the all the pod. Look at this here very carefully. Either you want to load balance the v1, so behavior should be consistent, or either you want to load balance the v2 1.2, so the behavior should be consistent. But it may be a situation where you have a older version also a newer version. So how do we tell to service saying that okay, don't load balance v1, load balance 1.2 itself or v1 itself? So how can we do this? And that is done by label actually. Yeah, have you seen labels guys in the pod deployments and all, and application controller? Have you anyone have seen the labels somewhere? What do you think? Have you seen the labels? No. So you should have described again. So now when you go to the pod, when you describe the pod or application controller or a deployment, then you will see that label. So I think you missed it. That's the reason I'm asking you all to go through each and every phase, no matter whether you understand or not, because somewhere and some way we will use those. Okay, so yeah, so label rocks. So remember which problem is solved by labels. So guys, here new pods which is coming up, the service should load balance the new database pod. Here the problem here is there is a pod 1 v1 and 1.2. There should be the balancing service should balance the pod only the v1 or v1.2. So that is solved by labels. Now guys, how it works. So let's understand that. Look at this here. Here you have a pod and here you have a service. Okay, so service you do have a certain pods, a certain labels. See, every object, I repeat, every object in Kubernetes, in fact in Docker also, there are some unique identity. So that's called name actually. Okay, so every object in Kubernetes you have a name, and that name has a certain scope. Some names you can have it and unique to the namespace, and some name you can make it unique to the what do you say, this cluster. So it has a certain names. Now So here, name is not a label, mind it here. Let's say my name is Rajesh Kumar, but you can call me Rajesh also, you can call me Raj also, you can call me trainer also, you can call me DevOps guys also. So anything you can call me, whatever you like, but my name is Rajesh Kumar. So same way, every object in Kubernetes, whatever you create it, you can name it, but you can also label it, and you can label it as many times you want it. You can label it as many times you want it. So see here, as per the images, I have labeled a service with the prod b1.3, pod b1.3, and all the pods also. So why we are having this label? Guys, the concept is very simple. Let's understand this. Very simple, and let's hear me out actually. The moment the labels of pod matches with the labels of service, see here, the labels of pod, if this matches with the labels of service, those pod will be load balanced by the service. Very simple. If the labels of pod matches with the label of service, then those pod will be load balanced by service. That is what it happens. Okay. So now you tell me, this service will load balance 3 pod right now. But whether labeling, who's doing the labeling to the pod and services? We will do that. So guys, you tell me, the labeling of these pods is correctly done or not done? Tell me by looking at the definition. Labeling of the pod in this slide is done correctly or not correctly? Look at it and then tell me. Everyone? No, that's correct. So guys, here what has happened, you label the database also and auth also with the same label. So that should be wrong. That is wrong labeling. That means what will happen? Sometime you hit the service, sometimes service will redirect to the database pod, and sometime they will redirect to login page. Will you accept this behavior? Of course not, right? So this labeling is not done. So labeling is important and you should do that. So see here, here you have the label of the pod prod b1.4, prod b1.4, pod b1.3, 1.3, 1.4. So here what has happened, see the matches is happening. The labels of pod, which is a prod b, matches with the labels of service, so which is prod b. Now that's the reason this is load balancing the 4 pod. Guys, in fact this labeling is not done correctly. This labeling is also not done because sometimes the communication is been sent to database, and sometime database 1.4, and sometime it is being sent to 1.3. So it's very important to understand that you should label it service and pod only with a similar characteristics. Okay, so here it's a different version, so it's not good. So what we do in this case, so we will add one more label 1.4 to the service, and then it will be perfectly fine. So in short guys, what is the service? So guys, service has a certain characteristics, and it only send the traffic to the healthy pod. Now when I say healthy, healthy itself has a certain definitions here. When I say healthy, that means healthy means the pod should be in a ready state. It's not in running state, it should be in a ready state. Now there is a difference between running and ready state. And for that, to understand, you have to deep dive into the pod.spec actually. Pod.spec, you have hundreds of field, and how can you do the readiness check, liveliness check, and stuff like that. those things will be there in those pod.spec file. But anyways, so here service only send the traffic to the healthy pod. Now guys, service can be configured for session affinity as well. Yes, service can be configured for session affinity and can point to things outside the cluster. Yes, the service can point at things to the outside of a cluster also. And service, which is you have, is a random load balancing. It's a random load balancing. And service uses the TCP by default. So guys, this is the service. Okay. Any questions, guys? Before me showing you the demo of this, any questions? Okay, so now let's get started. So guys, I would like to explain you a little bit of pictorial diagrams as well in a different way, so you will understand this and this concept will be permanent for you. So see it here. Now this is your cluster. Okay, think about it. This is your cluster. In the cluster, you have a two node, one node and two node. Okay. Total you have a two node. This is the node IP address. Okay. And now let's create a two pod here. So there is a one pod here has IP address and one pod get created here. These are the worker nodes. So yeah, this is the, let's say, web server. Okay. And then finally, you have another pod, which is a backend app server, backend B. And this also has a IP address. Pod is on pod network, node is on a node network. This is a backend. So guys, here, if I look at this, two pod you have it here, and two pod we have a front end. So now in between we need one load balancer. But load balancer we need for what? Balancing this pod. So this application will hit here, or this application will hit here, and this guy will redirect to here or here. That's all. So this is the same thing we need it in this image. So let me undo things. So now let's create one service of backend. So here this is the service I'm creating for the backend, and this service will be load balanced these two pods. So this is the service load balance this pod. Now anyone who wants to access, you want to access this here, this web server will access this, and this web server will access this service. Okay. So guys, did you understand so far? Now guys, this service, the one which you are able to access, see here, remember, understand that very simple concept. This service, this pod, this pod, this pod, this pod, and this service. All this service and pod is actually connected with the pod network, not a node network. Mind it, node 2 has IP address and pod 2 has IP address. And we have discussed already, all this pod communicate with the pod network, and with the help of kubeproxy and weavenet. Okay, so that we have discussed already. So the service is load balancing. Understand that, very simple concept. Service is load balancing the pod. So of course the service will be also on the pod network. Understand that? Service will be load balancing the pod. So by that way, the service will be on the pod network as well. Otherwise, how it can be load balanced? Service should be accessing the pod, right? So it can. So yes, service also on the pod network. This pod also in the pod network. So now anyone in the cluster, let's say if you are inside a cluster somewhere here or here, anyone can access this IP address because it's on the pod network. So remember that Kubernetes networking requirement, any pod can communicate with any pod within a cluster across the node, or any node can connect to the any pod within a cluster across the node. So those are the things is been done with the help of kubeproxy and driver and all, weavenet and all. So that we have discussed already. So guys, here this service is only accessible from inside a cluster, not from outside. But the guys, the problem here is we have a people outside of the cluster, right? Who's the end user. So how can he access? So guys, this service cannot be accessible by the outsider. So we need one more service, by the way. So I'm creating one more service here. And this time this service will load balance this pod, web front pod, and this web front pod. You think about it. See here, this very simple flow. This service will load balance web, and this service will load balance the backend. Now, if anyone wants to hit here, they will travel like this. They will go to the web. From web, this service will go to the service, and database service, and database service to the one of the instance. This is how they will travel it back. So now guys, do you remember how many of you have done the port forward with the pod? Can you tell me in the chat box? I just want to know how many of you have done port forward of the pod. Okay, one, I see that. What else? How many? Only 2%. So guys, you have to do that lab properly because this is something interrelated. So I hope you remember I've been talking about you can expose the pod to the node port. You did in the Docker also. You expose the container port on the node so you can access from outside. So yes, on the similar hand, guys, I hope you remember when we were doing expose. Let me show you rather than talking. Here you were able to forward service also. Let me show you here. kubectl port forward. Here port forward and -h. Look at this. See here you're port forwarding the pod, but see here. So you are port forwarding service as well. Okay. Yeah. So what need to be done? This service, which is web service, need to be port forwarded here also and here also. Okay, don't worry, this all task will be done by one command, but just you need to understand how it works. That's all. So here now, because this service is exposed at the node port, now this guy can access the node port. And see here the communication, how it will travel in this case. Look at this, very interesting thing. So I will hit from outside to the node port, means port of the node. Okay, from the port of the node, it will redirect to the web service. From the web service, it will redirect to the web pod. From the web pod, it will redirect to the backend service. From the backend service, it will redirect to backend pod. And this is how the request will travel. So guys, did you understand so far? Did you understand? Yeah. So, but guys, the problem here in this flow is who's remembering that? Who will remember the IP address of multiple IP address of the services? So what need to be done, guys? There's a one network load balancers need to be created here also. Yeah, but you must understand that this is the node network. So load balancer will be out of cluster, because this is a load balancing node network, not a pod network. Pod network service will be inside a cluster only. But this load balancer need to be created within a cluster. Understand that, within a cluster. So now guys, see that traffic. You hit to load balancer to the node port to the web service to the one of the pod of the service, pod to the service to database to the backend. This is the whole communication. But there is one more problem, guys. Who remember that load balancer IP address or endpoint? So in between there will be one DNS server also. See here, DNS server. So guys, we hit to the DNS server. This will be giving me IP address. From IP address, it will go to the node port. From the node port, you will do the port forwarding to the service. Service will do to the backend, front end. From the front end to service, and this one. So are you understanding this flow? This is how the traffic transfer. So guys, now the question is, this is the external services. This is external services for the cloud. Anything which is inside a cluster, such as this service and service exposing to the node port, you can do in the Kubernetes. Rest of the things are if you need a cloud services and all, you need to have additional access for AWS. So guys, did you understand theoretically how it works before showing the demo?
Rajesh, can you please repeat the last statement? Your voice is breaking.
Where did you missed it?
You said something related to AWS, right? So the cluster related thing can be accessed, managed by the Kubernetes, but the other part has to be by the AWS, something like that you said, right?
Yeah. So this one is Route 53 domain name service. You have a domain name actually. And this is the network load balancer of AWS. I mean, you can have a load balancer at a platform where you are using the VMs, virtual machines. So I'm using right now AWS, so I'll have a network load balancer here, NLB. So this is, you don't have right now any load balancer, and you don't have a domain service also. You don't have any domain. Apart from that, everything which can be done in the Kubernetes cluster can be possible with you and me also. But this demo I'll show you, but lab you won't be able to do that because you don't have AWS. Make sense?
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely.
You can, this service, ultimately what you want, sir? You want to access this service, don't you think so?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. So this service, if you expose to the node port, so that is what you want. You can access this service being inside our infrastructure, right? Inside a cluster, you can access this service or node port, you can access it. Understood this? Guys, are you there?
Uh, Sorry, I was in mute, Rajesh. Sorry. Here you are telling this cluster we are getting access inside the cluster. The service is getting access, but ultimately we will have to access the service from outside of the cluster, right? That will not be
So
possible with our environment, right? No.
no. You don't need this one, sir. What I'm telling you, okay, leave it as is as of now, right? Do you remember that how did you access the container on the node port?
Yes.
Docker container?
Through IP. Yes.
Yeah,
Through
IP address
IP.
of node. Same thing we did in the port forwarding also, right? Port for.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So what you can do, this service you can expose to the IP address, and that IP address you can access.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it.
So that ultimately you don't have a load balancer, you don't have a DNS server, but you can access the IP address, right? Ultimately you get the same
Yes.
thing.
Yes. Yes. Got it, sir. Rajesh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Okay. So now guys, I would like to copy few things from the last session because I feel writing most of the code. So let me copy. It's very easy. Now guys, this is a very important, okay, for all of you, and that is this is the most important content. You can have it now. Now let's correlate. Okay, so I hope by now you have understood. You know one thing, guys, when you create a service, think about it. When you create a service, balancing the pod, okay, that service we call it type clustered IP. Okay, what we call it clustered IP. Please read this. I would like you to read this, the one only selected one. When you create a service that is accessible, service, or of course service means load balancers of the pod. Okay, so service will be a part of the cluster. Service will be a part of the pod network. That service will be accessible within a network, within a cluster. So that type of service, we call it clustered IP. So here is stated very clearly, a service would have IP address of clustered network. This create a service which is accessible inside a cluster. Get IP address of the pod network. So this service would get IP address of the pod network. This type of the service is called clustered IP. Clustered IP address of cluster only. Pod network, in short, pod network. Guys, is that clear for everyone? Guys, is that clear for everyone? Okay. Now guys, there is one more type of service we can create. You have to declare type is node port. So guys, what happens with the node port? So what happens in the node port? This service get created. Okay. And which balancing the pod. Okay. This service get created. But what happens? This is the step number 1. And step number 2, what happens? This service get exposed to each node. Mind it here. Each node. Port forwarding. Port forward at each node. So please read this one. Very important. So see here. Node port. Again, it will do all the things of the cluster IP. But it will do one more thing when you say node port. This service get port forward at each node of the cluster. Mind it, each node of the cluster. Okay, that type of service we call it node port. So for example, in your scenario, you will create one, or backend you will create only one service cluster IP. But for the web, you will create a service and type will come a node port. Okay, that's the only difference. I hope you are getting it. Everyone is getting? Okay. And guys, third type is, we call it load balancer. Okay. Third type, what we call it is load balancer. So what is a load balancer? Please read this. It's very important. So here in the load balancer, when you say, okay, create a service and type is equal to load balancer, then what will happen, you know? This will create a service. Okay, this will create a service which is accessible. This is the cluster IP. First 2 line is the cluster IP. But what will happen? This same service, they will port forward at the each node also. Yes. So that will become a node port. And by the same service, what will happen? This is the third thing will happen with the load balancer extra. What happens? Cluster knows how many nodes you have. Remember here, look at this here, this one. So this load balancer need to be created, and this load balancer will balance the node port, right? Node port. So cluster knows how many IP address I'm having in my node. So what they will do? They will do this additional stuff. Let's read this. What the Kubernetes will do? Kubernetes will access your cloud and create external load balancer. Yeah, you have to give access. Kubernetes cannot access the cloud his own. You will give the access token and stuff like that. And after that, Kubernetes will do this one also. And this one also. Okay. And finally, it will do this one. And last thing is interesting. Add each node of the cluster to the external load balancer. That means this node and this node, they will attach to the external load balancer. So this is the 3 type, which is a popular type of the service which you have. So now guys, I'll put it in simple way. If you want your service to be accessible within a cluster itself, some internal services, this is okay. If you want your service to be accessible at the IP address of the node, mind it, I said IP address, then this is okay. But if you want your service to be accessible through the load balancer, external load balancer, that means that will be having multiple machines it will be running with. In that case, you can go for this one. Again, I repeating this. Cluster IP, the service will be accessible within a cluster. Node port, the service will be accessible within a cluster itself, and same time that will get exposed to the each node of the cluster. But load balancer will do cluster IP also, node port also, and last one also. I hope it is clear, guys. Can you please read it one more time, all of you? Okay, so before me showing you the demo, I want you to get comfortable with it. Okay, so I would request you to run these commands and go through this. So kubectl service, kubectl create service -h, okay, and all this thing. So in this command, you have so many options are given. I would like you to read it next 15 minutes, all this thing, and get you comfortable with this concept. And same time this one.
Please enroll our general membership for $399 plan to get access of all the parts.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan, and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.